Holly, guys, it's Holly. I'm coming to you guys, and I wanted to share something that happened to me over a year ago. Um, One night, I was up late and I was studying some scripture, just really diving into the Word. I had given my life to Christ because I couldn't take the pain anymore, and I did it within the confines of my own home. I had already been baptized and gave my life to Christ in a church, but it really never, I guess you can say, never changed anything. I was still the person that I was before everything happened in the church. And so I decided to get down on my knees one night and just cry out to the Lord like never before. And just I gave him all my pain and my hurt, my suffering, my sorrow, everything. I just gave it to him. Well, then I was up late one night and I was studying like I said, and I went to go lay my head down in the bed. And as soon as I laid my head down, it was like something, this wave just came over me, and it was like my whole body was just so relaxed, and it was the weirdest feeling, but it was actually like a euphoric feeling. It was amazing. I remember looking around, and I could see the room that I was in before I had even laid down, and I looked over to my shoulder and I saw myself. Yeah, it was kind of, I was like, whoa. And then out of nowhere, I was up in the stars and I was looking down on the earth, and this is kind of what I saw. And it was further back, so it was smaller, not like you see the big world or what you would imagine if you were above the world. I was kind of like way back. And on top of the world was a man, and he looked at me and he was making sure I was watching, and then all of a sudden he took his hands and cupped them around his mouth, and he just turned and he looked at the world and he went, "Rah!" It just was so loud, and I just didn't know what he had said, but it was so like thundering sound that I jolted, and it scared me a little bit. But then he looked at me, over at me, and this peace just came on me, so I wasn't scared anymore. Then what he did is he took his foot and he picked it up, one of his foot, and he slammed it down on earth, and it just made this popping, thunderous, loud sound. And again, I kind of was taken back at first, but I just watched. And then after he kicked the earth, he started clapping. Well, then he did it again. He stomped real hard, and then he started clapping for the second time. Well, the third time after he clapped, he took his hands, and instead of clapping in front of him, he lifted up his hands and started clapping, and he looked up. And he just stayed there clapping and looking up, and then he looked back at me, and he kind of gave me this little smile, and I was like, wow. And then what happened was he took out a 2 and an 8. Well, he took out 2 poster boards, and on one poster board he wrote the 2, and then on the other poster board he wrote the 8. And it wasn't the big poster boards; it was the smaller, the smaller ones. And then he had them apart, and he held up the 2 numbers, and they were separate. And he said, "Holly, what is this?" And I said, 2 and an 8. He said, "Okay." And then he brought them together, and he stopped, and he said, "What do you see now?" I said, 28. And then he put it right in front of my face, and he said, "What do you see now?" I said, 28. And then he pulled it back to himself. He said, "What do you see now?" 28. And it kept going on and on for a couple of times. And then all of a sudden I was back in the bed. So I kind of woke up, or if you can say I was sleeping, but I've been in dreams before where he's come to me, and this wasn't like a dream.